Okay, let me know that you are seeing this and that you're hearing this because I just had to mess with the phone. The hotel we're staying in has all these like multiple Wi-Fi's and it's supposed to be great and it's not that great and it's really annoying trying to log into 15 different Wi-Fi and none of them work. And hearts, it looks like there's a little bit of a lag through here, so hopefully it won't be too bad. I know Sarah. Hey, we did it!
Yeah.
Yeah! Oh my,
Technology will not beat us.
oh my gosh. But it's okay because we did it. And without the technology, we wouldn't be able to do this. Hey, Tammy, how are you? Oh, Denver is good. It's raining outside, but it's beautiful. LOA technology win. Yes, yes. Technology win for the right brain coach, therapist, person. That's like huge overcoming. Okay, so, oh, hey, Kimberly's joining us. So I'll go ahead and get started because we're going to run a little bit late since we started late. So, hello. Hi, Sarah. I'm glad we finally got you on here.
Me too.
And so for those of you who don't know, Sarah is someone I had met through a mastermind group that I was in, and we have very similar styles as far as like what we think is important in life, mindfulness, physical health and well-being, spirituality, things like that. And so I had asked her if she wanted to join me in doing this series. She has a website. It's called the Upward Spiral Project. So Sarah, why don't you just give a quick couple sentences so people who haven't seen you before on here know what you're doing.
Yep, for sure. Thanks, Rachel. So yeah, Upward Spiral Project is just basically just a place for sharing ideas around kind of healthy in its broadest sense living, so healthy mind, body, spirit, and we have articles that we've written ourselves plus links to other people's content, so there's lots of great stuff up there, and it's all freely available. So yeah, head on over and check stuff out.
Yeah, and what I like about Sarah's information is that I know it's good information. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about, or not a little bit, we're going to talk a lot about support. And part of getting the support is finding the support you need and good quality things that are supportive to you. So we're going to do a little exercise. We'll talk a little bit about support. Hey, Dawn. Hi, Susan. So nice to have you on here. Just to let you know, we're not going to say hi to everyone just simply because so we can get through the material. So let's go ahead. Oh, and one more thing too is we're up to 204 members now. So if you have other friends who you think would benefit from this, who would fit within the group, go ahead and invite them to join at This Authentic Feminine Life. And I'd love to approve them because the more we can inspire women, the more we get inspired ourselves. So I have my notes over here to the right, and let's get started. So for the past 3 weeks, we have been exploring this boundaries versus barriers kind of concept. And so the first week was all about what is the difference between boundaries versus barriers. And if you haven't listened to all of the videos or watched all of the videos, either recorded or live, make sure to go back and check them out. They're in the video section to the left of the Facebook group. You can click on videos, and obviously the longest ones are the ones that are the boundary versus barriers. And I think there are titles, right, Sarah? I think we have titles
When
on
you
them.
hover over them. Yeah, when you hover
Okay.
over them, it comes. I'm not sure if you're on a mobile device, but certainly on a computer, if you hover over it, it comes up with a description.
Okay, awesome. So you can do that to see the differences of the boundaries versus barriers. The second week was all about exploring what boundaries or barriers may need some tweaking, adjusting, releasing, getting rid of, or transition from one to the other. The third week, last week, was all about identifying exactly what you need in your life to create more ease and freedom. And tonight we're talking about support. So what do we mean by support? How many of you believe that you have supportive people in your life? Just give me thumbs up or hearts if you think that you do, or if you know that you do. Let me say it like that. Um, and then what I'd like to ask is, I'm wondering if you guys will put in the comments, who is your number one supporter? Who is your number one supporter? Let's see it in the comments. Whether you don't have to say a name, you can say daughter, friend. If you want to say a name, that'd be cool too, because, you know, we all love to have good support. And then we're going to talk, what I want to ask is, what was one of the reasons why you sought support from this person? So a lot of people, like we're seeing on here, a lot of it is the spouse, right? It's your spouse, it's your friend, it can be a family member. Oh, daughter. So Dawn says daughter on here. And then Margaret, Margaret, you crack me up every time. You put this squirrel right in front of me, and then it goes crawling up a tree. Honey, my husband, Paul, most of the time. So Karen is saying, what made her seek that support? Depression made me seek support. Yes. So Kimberly says it's her mom. Tell us a little bit more from the other people. What made you seek support? Because usually when we need support, it's because we need to have, it's almost like I feel someone comes along and puts their hand on the small of your back, and you just know they're there, and they're just there no matter what. And we seek it because something is happening in our lives that's often maybe not always pleasant, or maybe it's nerve-wracking. And part of the reason we seek support is because we are human. It is a human condition for us to want to connect. And those of us that think, like I used to say, no one's going to care about me but me, so I just better only care about myself and not, you know, when we try and isolate like that, it's not very helpful. And we always tend to seek support, and then sometimes we seek an unhealthy support in a way. So it's all about this human condition, this need for us to connect. That's why we're made the way we are. I'm wondering, Sarah, do you have anything else you want to add about this kind of human connection, this physiological need for us to be with others?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that came to mind to me when we were first talking about this is a study that I've heard quoted numerous times about a small town called Rosito, Pennsylvania, back in the 60s. And other people may have heard this story because, like I say, I've heard it a number of times. But basically, they found this kind of unusual statistic around the health of the men in this town, that their rates of heart attack were much, much lower than other areas in the United States. They couldn't understand why. And when they looked into it, basically the conclusion they came to is it was all to do with the support networks that they had. They drank, they ate all the wrong foods, they worked in mines and awful conditions for their health. There were all kinds of reasons that they shouldn't have been well, if you like, but they had this amazing community. They didn't compete with one another. They were round at each other's house each night playing cards and building this kind of community and that support. And it just, you know, everyone kind of knew their place, they fitted in, they had support, they had friends. And that just that they, in the end, they kind of went, the only thing they could put it down to was people had lower levels of stress because of that and the amazing impact that that was having on their health. So it's, you know, it's something that's important for us emotionally, but it actually also can have incredible physical impacts, that support. The other thing I think we talked about, I was going to share on here, and I prepared by copying a link to a page. We have a section on our website which specifically talks about the power of connection, and there's an article on there that I wrote, but there's also some links to some content from other people, which is quite valuable. So I'm going to post that now if people want to go check that out and see some of that information about the, you know, incredible sort of power of connection.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what this group is about too, right? I mean, all of us are on here, and I created this group because I wanted to support and I wanted to be supported. It's not just all about everyone else. This is about me too, because I wanted to build a community that was going to be supportive of each other, non-judgmentally, saying, oh, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. But what's authentic to me is how I then go ahead and find support. And it doesn't matter whether people agree. They just say, go, Rachel, go. And I can say the same thing to all of you. That's the beauty. So that really leads us into, oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself looking at my notes. I want to do an exercise. Who's up for exercise? Thumbs up, hearts, if you're up for exercise. Thumbs up, hearts, exercise. No one wants exercise.
You're the delay. I'm sure everyone really wants to do it.
Okay. So it looks like we are on for the exercise. So if you can just find a place, whether you're sitting on your couch or maybe you're lying down someplace, and we're just going to go through a little bit of exercise, and we'll do the same 3 deep breathing in the beginning. So just uncross your legs or your arms if they're crossed. If you're sitting somewhere, try and put your feet on the floor, so you can have that groundedness. And so just start relaxing into a position. I'm going to uncross my leg here too. Okay, so what I want you to do is just take a moment, close your eyes if you feel safe enough to do that. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. Probably don't do this exercise if you're driving, just listen. So just take a moment. And now what I want you to do is I want you to inhale through the nose, letting the belly expand, inhaling through the nose, and exhaling through the mouth. Just take a moment, let your belly or your breath return back to the normal, feeling the rise and the fall of the belly. And then on this next inhale, I want you to take a really deep inhale, feeling the belly expand, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Just noticing how the belly starts to rise and fall at the natural breath. And then for this last time, just put your hand on your belly. We're going to take one more inhale through the nose, nice deep belly expanding, holding just for 1 second, and exhaling, belly contracting. Feeling the breath return back to its natural rhythm. And now I want you to picture yourself in a wonderful place. Maybe it's your safe place. Maybe it's your go-to when you have stress or calm. This place is just a place where you can breathe easy. There's no worries here. There's no stress. With each breath, feeling the shoulders drop, feeling yourself settling into the chair. And as you're in this space for you, this calm space, I want you to notice that there is a basket on the floor. You notice it and you decide to walk over to the basket. And you reach down and you pick it up. And inside of this basket, maybe it has a lid, maybe it has a piece of fabric covering it, maybe it's just open, are all the things you need to be supported. Take a moment and explore whatever is in this basket. Maybe there's images that pop out of the basket, or objects that you see, or words, or colors. Just allow yourself a moment to explore these wonderful things that are here to support you. Maybe there's pictures in this basket. Maybe they're of loved ones that are here or that are no longer here with us in the physical realm. Just taking one more minute to really absorb all of these things that are here to support you. Letting you know exactly what you need. Commit some of these things into your memory. Take note. Knowing that this same support will be here for you to access at any point in time, whenever you're feeling stress, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, whenever you're feeling sadness, whenever you're having health issues. These resources are here for you to access. Take a moment to have a gratefulness towards this revelation or this revealing of your support to you, saying thank you. And now taking one deep breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. You know it's time to leave this place. Still aware that you can return at any time. And taking one more deep breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Beginning to come into the room wherever you're at. Noticing any sounds, smells. And lastly, becoming fully present in the room, inhaling one more time, belly expanding. And exhale, becoming fully present. Wiggling the feet or your toes or your fingers if you need to, just to come back into the room. So, how many of you are still with me? Thumbs up, hearts if you're still with me. Let me know. I would love, and I know Sarah would love also, to see some of the things that came to you to tell you exactly how you need to be supported and what you need to be supported. So what resources were there for you? What did you see? What did you feel? Did you, I don't know, see, some people see things in color. Let me know in the comments what you guys saw and what you witnessed, because I'm here to tell you the best part of all of this is that all those things that you witnessed during this short little exercise are the things that are already within you. Because it is your divine knowing that told you what you needed to feel supported. And that's the first thing that we need to do. We need to look back within and we need to see what do we need right now in order to feel the support. So part of that is how do I create the support around me? So one of the ways that we are doing this right now is, like I said, through this Facebook group. Another way, or what this way is social media. So Margaret says, excuse me, Margaret says, red velvet ribbon and sewing scissors. I have no idea what that means. You don't need to know what it means. It's interesting, though. I saw blue and white first. Katie, check out those, the meanings of those colors. And I would like, what color, what kind of blue? Light blue, dark blue, navy, you know, those kinds of things. My pug gave me a cup of coffee and a mixtape. Is that totally like 80s or 90s? What are mixtapes? 90s? 90s. Do you have mixtapes in New Zealand?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. Yeah, maybe even 80s. But
That's funny. Blue, white, and food. Maybe some kind of nurturing. Karen says, a smile, an ear, a picture of two women holding hands skipping down a path. Wired. What's wired mean, Karen? So this is some cool stuff. So you don't have to know what it means. You just take whatever comes to you and you let it come to you, because that's exactly what is supposed to be there. This is a process that requires faith and trust. And so one of the ways people create support around them is through social media. So I'm sure that lots of other people, well, I'm a part of at least a few other groups. I know, Sarah, you have a few other groups that you belong to, right?
Yeah.
And so there's Facebook groups, there's like all different kinds of social media stuff that you can be a part of. And so that can be a really great resource to have. The other thing is, how do you know whether you need a coach or a mentor? Like, and I know, Sarah, you brought up this one. Tell me a little bit about what you were meaning when you thought of a coach or a mentor.
I guess it's really just, sometimes if you don't have anyone or know anyone necessarily that can provide you with the right support, sometimes, it basically you have to go down the path of saying, let me find a professional who can actually help me with this and pay them to do the job. So it just really, I guess it's keeping an open mind rather than saying, oh, well, that person, yeah, they're not really the best, but I'll just go with them. Sometimes you've got to be prepared to go beyond that, and you've got to say, look, this is really important to me. I need the right person. And the advantage of someone like a coach or a mentor is that they're a step more independent than someone who's a friend and they know, they have some kind of professional training, so they know how to truly support someone, how to hold space for someone, rather than, a lot of us with the best of intentions have a kind of a tendency to rush in and try and solve people's problems for them, rather than being able to just let them work through, give them a friendly ear, a shoulder to cry on if they need that, but not try and provide the solutions. It's an unfortunate kind of hardwired sort of attribute that a lot of us tend to have, that it's like, oh, this person's upset, I need to fix them, and often that's actually not what they need. So that was just my kind of thinking on that. Sometimes it's good to get quite independent and get someone who actually just really knows how to support you in an empowering way, I suppose.
Yeah, I think one of the things too I find with the women I work with, or the individuals that I work with, when we have a group of friends, we tend to stick together with a group of friends that kind of think like us. And so a person outside of your realm or whatever, they can have a different way of looking at something that might allow you to be more expansive in the way that you are. And I think that's why a lot of women decide finally, like, I'm not going to try and patch it up anymore. I'm not going to try and do things just haphazard, or I'm really going to start focusing. What I'm wondering on here is how have the women on here found or created a support network? So I would love to hear some of the resources, because the social media is really great, but also there can be a downside. There's a lot of people out there. I saw one friend, and she belongs to like 23 groups. And for me, that is way too many. Like, I would be overstimulated. I wouldn't feel like I could keep up. And then I would probably end up, or I have ended up saying, oh, I have to quit this because it's not useful to me anymore. I can't put the investment in. And really, when you are looking for supportive relationships, it's an investment. And when I make friendships and when I give my time and my energy to people, I am making an investment in them. So it's just like you and I, Sarah, we spend some time offline here from this group talking about what we want to present and how we want to help and inspire other women. And we have to take the time to do that, or it's not going to be as supportive as we want it to be. So
I think the thing is, social media can be a great way to get to know people, but it's not necessarily the forum to get them to support you. So it's like joining groups on social media can be a great way to see people. And, and maybe some of the women that are on here who see someone else commenting and think, hey, that person is on the same wavelength as me. And then you actually connect with that person offline, like maybe still online, like you and I, it has to be, we're on the other side of the world, but but we can connect one-on-one and actually talk to each other in a more open way than
Mm-hmm.
you're going to in a public forum. But it's just that
Right.
they can be a useful way sometimes to find someone, rather than, because the danger when you start interacting in public forums obviously is all kinds of unhelpful factors that can
Mm-hmm.
come into play there, of, you know, other people getting involved who want to criticize or put people down to make themselves feel good, and you don't, you know, that's the last thing you need. But yeah, just maybe a useful kind of meeting place as a starting point.
Yeah, and we talked too about how the self-awareness, you know, in order to find out what to create a support for yourself, you have to be aware of what you need. And that's why we did that little exercise in the beginning, because having this self-awareness, and whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it in the recording, you know, comment on there what you saw, and tell us a little bit about how you increase your self-awareness of what actually was coming to you. And you can go back and do this exercise over and over and over again, because the video will still be on or in this Facebook group. So the first time, what I find is that when people start these exercises and they do them the first time, the more you practice, the deeper you go, the more is revealed or substantially revealed to you. So I don't know whether so anyway, that's the other thing, creating this self-awareness and desire to have a soul supporter too. That's another reason why people find a coach or a mentor. And when you're really ready to get serious, you know, people come to work with me because they're ready to be serious about it. They want to get it over with. They want to move through. They want to be able to say, this is what I'm supposed to learn from this. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to walk through the muck, and then I'm going to go out the other side, because this is how I want to be living my life, right? That's that authentic living part. Do you have anything else to add before we move on to the next one?
I think you can move on.
Okay, moving on. So, in the comments too, let me know where you guys have found support. Because the other thing too, I want to make a really quick note, is that Sarah and I can connect over the internet, and we do often, and we see each other face to face. And sometimes the physical connection with people or support is fine too, because when you think of it in the human condition, when we have a support and our physiological hormones change and all of those things, even if, you know, just with girlfriends and you meet and you go out and you have dinner, or they come over and I don't know, when people come to my house, we have chips and salsa and draw cards, and you know, we just kind of hang out. So it's a really comfortable place. But don't forget about this meeting people, having a connection with people in a physical way, in a physical realm too. So Margaret says, I found support from people with the same rare disease as me. Yes, yes. So at work, we share struggles with our caseloads. Okay, great. So keep putting those up there. We're going to move on to number 3, which is why sometimes the first people you think of turning to might not be the best option. How many of you can relate to number 3? So sometimes we think that this person is going to be super supportive, and they're the people that are going to support us and be there. And then all of a sudden they say, well, I don't think you need to be doing that. I don't think that's right for you. Or they say, really? Or they say, wow, have you ever gotten any of that? Because I know I have so many times in my life, which is what has driven me to this point in my life. Because I got tired of seeking support from people who had only their own interests or their own opinions, and they couldn't let me have mine. You know, and that relationship wasn't helpful. It wasn't helpful to always have someone asking, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm trying to trust myself. Yes, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. Well, okay. You know, and then so it's kind of, when we seek that support, if we know what we need and how we need to have it delivered, it is a lot easier. Well, this might not be true. I take that back. So what's beneficial, or what I have found to be beneficial, and I would love to hear your thoughts, is that I tell someone exactly the way I need them to support me. Now, some people are like, oh no, But when I got divorced the first time, yeah, I said it, the first time, I had these friends that I specifically called and I said, listen, I need 3 people that I can call at any point in time that aren't going to tell me it's okay, that aren't going to tell me I'm going to be okay, that aren't going to tell me that I shouldn't cry or that I shouldn't feel this or that I shouldn't be angry or any of all things. All I need is to call you up and just talk just for a second, and then I'll say goodbye and then hang up the phone. That's all I need from you. So Mark says, yeah, that's the other times with Paul. Or they make it all about them. Yeah. You know what happened to me? I was so frustrated, and you're like, hey, you just hijacked my support, but whatevs. Yes, and then they kind of disappear when you seek support from them. So this sounds like people have really had these experiences. And how do we handle that? How have you guys handled that? You've heard a little bit. Sarah, how have you handled those situations?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess probably I just tend to gently distance myself from that person. So not even necessarily like completely distance myself from them, but
Mm-hmm.
just change my interaction with them. But but yeah, I mean, because it becomes stressful and draining if that interaction where you'd expect to get support suddenly becomes questioning of, where you walk away from feeling like someone's just been looking at you for the last hour as if you arrived from a different planet or something. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I think trying to being prepared to change it, and it's not always easy because if you're talking about a
Mm-hmm.
close friend or family member, then trying to put that distance in can actually be quite difficult without actually being offensive to the person. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you can, yes, if you've got a good enough relationship that you can just openly say, I don't want to talk about, but I guess just trying to avoid the conversation going around those things, or maybe just taking a bit of time out, because sometimes I find, just take a bit of a break from them for a little while, make a few excuses. Oh, I'm really busy, at the moment, and give it a bit of space, and that can really change things. So I think as well that it is important to remember that people do this with the best of intentions, and
Mm-hmm.
so like not letting it as frustrating as it is, not letting it upset you, not letting yourself get caught up in thinking, oh, this person is trying to ruin my life by, then they're
Mm-hmm.
not. They probably have the very best of intentions and actually want the best for you. They just are maybe scared or intimidated by what it is that you're trying to do, or don't understand it. And so they're just kind of reacting, I guess, from a place of fear or uncertainty, and just not being able to provide you with the support that you need.
Yeah, I think so. You can see all of you on this call, and even I can see, Sarah and I handle things in a very different manner. I mean, she's more of a gentler kind of approach. And I'm just like, hey, that's not really helpful. I'd really love to have your support if you're able to support me. And so I mean, I think this just goes to show you that there's lots of ways to do it, and for you to find the way that resonates with you. Because when I talk to people about needing their support, I go to a vulnerable place. I mean, because I'm going to tell them kind of I'm going to tell them what I'm looking for. I'm going to tell them like, hey, I'm really needing to just talk to someone right now. I don't really need advice, but I just need to let this off my chest. And I have a few friends that I can do that with. And so that's kind of how I preface. Or sometimes when people call me that are my friends and they say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I said, sure. What do you need? Do you just need me to sit and listen? If you need that, I'm here for that. If you need me to chime in, I'll chime in. You tell me, because the more I can hear them, the more they can hear me. Like, we develop a tighter relationship about that. And so I think that there's lots of ways to maneuver, but the vulnerability part is really where people go sometimes. And just like Margaret was saying, like sometimes she just cuts people off. And I've done that too in different times of my life, because I just couldn't either do it in any other way, or I had tried so many times and nothing else ever worked. So I tried to separate, or I tried not to address the situation, and it just didn't work very well. So
I think
that's what we're talking. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would just, your comment about we do have slightly different approaches. And to be honest, I would say I would encourage people to aspire to the way that you deal with things more. It is something that I have a real challenge with. I still struggle with how to actually, sometimes articulate those things with people, how to deal with those things constructively. And it's something I'm aware of for myself, that I let myself take on board too much of that stress. And my mechanism for dealing with it has tried to be more, okay, I'll just try and internally say, I'm not going to let that stress me out. But it still kind of lurks there because I haven't actually dealt with the situation a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
time. So I think maybe it's a stages thing. You
Mm-hmm.
go through stages, so it's a don't feel bad if you're not at the point that you're actually ready to be clear and direct with
Mm-hmm.
people. But that, I think, is what people honestly should aspire to, because really we all benefit when we're clear and open in our communications with each other and able to be vulnerable with other people. If we could foster more and more of that, we would all have
Mm-hmm.
a better life.
Yeah, and I think just being gentle with yourself, different situations will call for different ways of being. And so when we know that, and when we know, I mean, again, this comes back within, when you know yourself so well, there's never a doubt that what you're doing is exactly what you need to be doing, whatever it is, and trusting yourself. So what about the person who calls you and states they want your advice, but when you give it, they get mad? Oh, and they never ask how you're doing. Well, Karen, I am wondering what you think you need to be doing about that, because I think you already have the answer. So I'm not going to tell you any answer. I want you to know that whatever your thought is initially after you read that comment is exactly the thing you need to do, because that's your divine knowing. So I want to encourage you, even if you're watching this in the recording, to please post in ways that you found support. Please post the things that you've struggled with the most. Women in this group want to support you. They want to support you. And so that's what this group is all about. And I want to wrap it up because we're going pretty long. So I would also like you to take what you've learned, do this exercise again this week, and figure out how you're going to implement it. How are you going to implement you creating either more support, or initially creating support, or finding different support? That would be so cool to hear how you guys are going to be doing that. So just really quick, we're going to wrap up. We're going to be back next Tuesday because I'll be back in Reading. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so hot. Anyway, we'll be back in Redding, California. I'll say goodbye to the nice weather here. Remember, if you have any friends that you feel might benefit from this, or even benefit from the group, please invite them to join the This Authentic Feminine Life group, and I'd love to approve them. And then if you've missed any part of this series, please know that you can go back and watch it in the This Authentic Feminine Life group. And you can just hover over the video and it'll tell you what week it is. So Karen says, oh, I already did. Well, there you have it. Bam. Okay, so next week is on Tuesday, back at 7:30. Starting in June, it's going to be 8 o'clock at night. 8 o'clock so that people can do their summer stuff. I want to thank you all, and I'm sure, well, I'll speak for myself. I want to thank you all for being here. Sarah.
Yes, thank you everyone for being here.
I didn't want to speak for you. So thank you all for being here. I hope that you all can create and adjust or release all of these things that we've been talking about to find the support that is exactly right for you, and to know that it is out there. So I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday on True Serum Tuesday, 7:30. Bye. Mwah.